top of Old Smoky.
I know many liars doing very well these days, making out airline schedules.
Mr. Bojangles,
a date which will live in infamy.
C'è la luna, mezza mare, mamma mia, maradare.
How long have you been in the cake business, Mr. Proudfoot? Long enough to know a crumb when I see one.
Time now for Spinning My Dad's Final. Here with all his skips, scratches, and pops is my dad, Frank Vaccarello.
Thanks, sweetie, and thank you for tuning into episode 105 of Spinning My Dad's Vinyl, and welcome to Season 3. First off, Happy New Year, and I hope you were able to celebrate safely. My dad had several albums from the guy we let enter our living rooms every New Year's Eve, and they still play his version of the song he made famous as the ball hits the bottom of the pole. So, get ready to flash back to what a New Year's Eve on TV sounded like in the 60s and 70s with Volume 105, Guy's New Year Tradition.
From Harrah's Club at Lake Tahoe, the Guy Lombardo Show.
Well, thank you very much. Well, folks, we're certainly happy to be at Harrah's on Lake Tahoe, and we hope tonight you're going to enjoy our program. Now, as we go along, I want you to meet all the boys in the band, our vocalists, the twin pianos, my brothers, as a matter of fact, everyone that we feature. Now, in this first number, we'll have a vocal by Bill Flanagan. Here's one of the numbers from the Rodgers and Hammerstein show, flower drum song, Love, Look Away.
Love, look away. Love, look away from me. Fly when you pass my door. Fly and get lost at sea. Call it a day. Love, let us say we're through. No good are you for me. No good am I for you. Wanting you so, I try too much. After you go, I cry too much. Love, look away. Lonely though I may be, leave me and set me free. Look away, look away. Look away from me.
Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians with, first the opening, Auld Lang Syne, and then Love, Look Away written by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein. Okay, why this record for this episode? Well, I think this one's obvious. The connection between Guy Lombardo and New Year's Eve in New York City is indelibly ingrained in my brain, as I'm sure it is for many of you too. I spent countless New Year's Eves begging to stay up to watch the ball drop, then getting to regularly with my mom and dad as they hosted plenty of small parties over those years. Then, as an adult, all of the different parties I went to, including the 2000 New Year's Eve party where the host pulled the main electric breaker switch at the stroke of midnight to tease us into believing there was something to the Y2K bug. That panicked a lot of people for just a few seconds. All of those New Year's were brought in with, if not Guy Lombardo, then at least a version of Auld Lang Syne. So, time now for a song that features the famous Lombardo twin pianos and was written nearly 130 years ago.
Now we're going to feature and introduce our twin pianos, Fred Kreitzer and Hugo DePaul. And here is their arrangement of Humoresque.
Humoresque, written by Czech composer Antonín Dvořák in 1894 and arranged by Guy Lombardo. All right, let me tell you about my dad's vinyl I have chosen for this episode. Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians Guy Lombardo at Harrah's Club. It's on Capitol Records label number ST1393. It's a vinyl LP album format, stereo, was released in the U.S. in 1960, although I was not able to determine the date of the recording. Its genre is jazz and its style is big band, and I will play 8 of the 11 songs on this album for you. Now, I would like to read just a few of the liner notes. The first on-the-spot recording by Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians direct from the stage at the glamorous Harrah's Club at Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Guy himself is master of ceremonies for the exciting show as the audience applauds, laughs, and sings along to the sweetest music this side of heaven. This evening of entertainment with Guy Lombardo features the whole wide and wonderful expanse of Lombardo music. Favorite songs, the vocals of Kenny Gardner, Carmen Lombardo, Cliff Grass, and Bill Flanagan, and the Lombardo Trio, plus the twin pianos and the always sweet sound and the dancing beat. As Louis Armstrong, a loyal Lombardo fan, once said, quote, "They play music, good music. They can play anything and everything they play is just about perfect," unquote. Maybe Louis didn't know it, but he was speaking for millions who have spent very special evenings with Guy Lombardo and the band that has been one of America's favorites for more than 25 years. Okay, let's see what prices this record is being sold at on Discogs.com. Well, what do you know? We have another album that's listed in 11 collections, but has never been sold on that website. There were copies on Amazon asking for $6 to $14, and eBay had them as high as $16. Now, my dad's record is in fair to poor condition. There's plenty of hiss before the album starts, and there's some popping and cracking and a couple of skips. The album cover is in terrible condition. I'm surprised to not see any of my dad's famous electrical tape being used to keep the seams together, especially this bottom one. So I will value my dad's record at a dime. Now, on to a fun song that probably wouldn't go over in this day and age.
Until she turns him down. So listen, listen, listen to me, and then you'll understand that as a silver dollar goes from hand to hand, a woman goes from man to man. A man's no good without a woman. He's like a ship without a sail. He's like a kid without his mother, or like a dog without a tail. A man goes crazy about a woman, just as crazy as a loon. There's only one thing worse in the universe, that's a woman, a pretty woman, or any woman without a man. You can throw a silver dollar on the ground and it will roll, because it's round. A woman never knows what a good man she's got until she turns him down. So listen, listen, listen to me, and then you'll understand that as a silver dollar goes from hand to hand, a woman goes from man to man. Yes, a woman goes from man to man.
Spinning My Dad's Vinyl. Fascination, written by D Marchetti. And before that, we heard Silver Dollar, written by Clark Van Ness and Jack Palmer. Did you listen to the lyrics closely? Okay, we covered Guy Lombardo's life in last year's New Year's episode, so let's dive in a little deeper on what his connection to this holiday is. And this is from the website Eyes of a Generation, Television's Living History. Starting in 1927, Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians played New Year's Eve shows on Chicago's WBBM radio. In 28, WBBM became one of the original CBS radio network stations, and the executives in New York became aware of the very popular Chicago celebration, and in 1929 brought Lombardo to New York for a New Year's Eve network show that for some reason was shared with the NBC radio network, with CBS broadcasting the before midnight segment and NBC broadcasting the after midnight part of the show. Lombardo's orchestra played at the Roosevelt Grill in the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City from 1929 to 1959, and their New Year's Eve performances continued until 1978 at the Waldorf Astoria. Televised performances started on CBS on December 31st, 1956. The Lombardo special on CBS would include a live segment from Times Square, along the focal point of America's New Year's Eve celebrations, showcasing the arrival of the new year. While CBS carried most of the Lombardo New Year's specials, there were a few years in the late 1960s and early 70s when the special was syndicated live to individual TV stations instead of being broadcast on a network. By the middle of the 1970s, the Lombardo TV show was facing competition, especially for younger viewers from Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, but Lombardo remained popular among viewers, especially older ones. Even after Lombardo's death, the band's New Year's specials continued for 2 more years on CBS. The Royal Canadians were noted for playing the traditional song Auld Lang Syne as part of the celebrations. Their recording of the song still plays as the first song of the new year in Times Square. Now, I want to add that Lombardo once even joked he planned to take the holiday with him when he died. He might not have been able to take the holiday with him, but his absence has certainly been felt to this day. Time now for 2 more, and we'll let Guy introduce some familiar bandmates.
Thank you very much. Well, folks, as you probably know, our band is sort of a family affair, and I'd like to take just a moment now to introduce you to my brothers. At the end of the sax section, playing soprano sax, is my brother Victor. And playing trumpet, first trumpet in the brass section, is another brother, Liebert. Back to the sax section. The first sax, my brother, Carmen. You know, Carmen is quite a songwriter. He's written ever so many songs that I know you're familiar with. He wrote Powder Your Face with Sunshine, Seems Like Old Times, that's Arthur Godfrey's theme song, Boo-Hoo, Little Coquette, Sweethearts on Parade. Well, a short time ago, we had another big hit, and of course you remember Dean Martin's recording of it. So here's Kenny to sing Carmen's latest hit, Return to Me.
Return to me. Oh, my dear, I'm so lonely. Hurry back, oh, my love, hurry back, I am yours. Return to me, for my heart wants you only. Hurry home, won't you please hurry home to my heart. My darling, if I hurt you, I'm sorry. Forgive me, and please say you are mine. Return to me. Please come back, Bella Mia. Hurry home to my arms, to my lips and my heart. non lasciarmi solo. I'm so lonely. Vieni tu, vieni tu, vieni tu, vieni tu, mio amore. Return to me, cara mia, ti amo. I'm so lonely, solo tu, solo tu, solo tu, solo tu, mio cuore. Return.
Spinning My Dad's Vinyl. That was Boo-Hoo, written by Edward Heyman, Carmen Lombardo, and John Jacob Loeb. And before that, a song Dean Martin made famous with Return to Me, written by Carmen Lombardo and D. Minno. Time now for this episode's interesting side note, and it has to do with what the heck the title of this year-ending anthem means and where it came from. This from the website This Day in Quotes, and I'll drop the link into my show's liner notes. Contrary to what you sometimes hear, Scottish poet and lyricist Robert Burns, who lived from 1759 to 1796, didn't create the song Auld Lang Syne, and Canadian bandleader Guy Lombardo didn't start the tradition of singing the song at New Year's Eve parties. However, Burns did flesh out and popularize the lyrics of the song as we know it today, or at least kind of know it, in a poem he wrote in 1788. And Lombardo did popularize the tradition of playing and singing Auld Lang Syne, or at least trying to sing it, after counting down the final seconds to midnight on New Year's Eve. As explained by the Burns Encyclopedia, Burns based his poem on a traditional Scottish air, or song, that he loved. He kept some existing phrases, including Auld Lang Syne and Should Auld Acquaintance Be Forgot, then adapted and added to them, creating the lyrics of the version of the song that became famous worldwide. Of course, since many of those words are in an old Scots dialect, few people can either remember or understand most of them. The literal English translation of the phrase Auld Lang Syne is old long since, which means something like old days long gone by, or more simply put, old days or old times. The basic gist of the famous first verse and chorus is that one should remember and think kindly about old times and old friends and toast them with a drink. In Scotland, the tradition of singing the song on various sentimental, ceremonial, and holiday occasions dates back to before Burns's time. By the late 1800s, after Burns' poem made the song familiar in other parts of the world, it was common for people in many English-speaking countries to sing Auld Lang Syne on New Year's Eve. Mentions of this custom appear in old news clips that date back to long before Guy Lombardo became associated with it. But he and his band did help cement the tradition into American culture. According to most sources, Lombardo and the Royal Canadians first played Auld Lang Syne after the countdown to midnight on December 31st, 1929 at the Hotel Roosevelt Grill in New York City. They continued to perform the song on New Year's programs that were broadcast live from New York, first on radio and then on television until 1976, the year before Lombardo died. Okay, next up, a rip-roaring version of one of my dad's and my favorite songs, which is why it starts and ends each episode of Spinning My Dad's Vinyl.
Oh, when the saints go marching, I want to be among that number. When the saints go marching, oh, when the saints go marching, I want to be right there among that number. When the saints go marching in.
When the Saints Go Marching In, and that song doesn't really have an author attached to it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. While this wasn't a recording of a New Year's Eve performance, it closely mimics what one of those shows sounded like, and it reminded me of all those New Year's Eves I spent with my parents and siblings. And I saved this tale for the end. One of my favorite stories about New Year's Eve was the one in 1982 when several college-age friends of mine were enjoying Akron as our place to celebrate the new year. None of us were paying attention because we ended up hopping between bars as the clock struck midnight. Yep, we had walked out of one bar because it was just too crowded and didn't realize it was already past midnight until we walked into the next one and saw all the confetti on the ground and couples still kissing. And yes, Auld Lang Syne was playing. So, cheers to a happy and healthy 2023 to you and your loved ones. Let's now finish with a group karaoke.
Now we come to the Lombardo medley, but tonight it's going to be just a little bit different because you're going to be part of it. Now, on your tables, you have the lyrics to these 5 very popular songs, so there'll be no excuse for you not singing them real loud and clear. Let's start now with I Can't Give You Anything But Love. button up your overcoat. Shine on Harvest Moon.
They called her frivolous sad, a peculiar sort of a gal, with a heart that was mellow and all round good fellow was my gal. Your troubles, your sorrows, your cares, she was always willing to share. A wild sort of devil, but dead on the level, was my gal Sam.
Everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go, sunshine follows you. Everywhere you go, skies aren't always blue. Children love you, they seem to know. You bring roses out of the snow. The whole world says hello. Everywhere you go.
Well, folks, that's the end of our show, and we've certainly enjoyed playing for you from Harrah's here at Lake Tahoe, and we hope you enjoyed it too. So till we meet again, from all the boys in the band, this is Guy Lombardo saying good luck and goodbye.
The Guy Lombardo sing-along medley, something he liked to do in his shows, and of course finishing up with Auld Lang Syne. And there you have selections from Lombardo and his Royal Canadians at Harrah's Club. So thanks for tuning into Volume 105, Guy's New Year Tradition, however you did. If you want more information about this show, head over to spinningmydadsvinyl.com. I'll be back next week with all my skips, scratches, and pops for Volume 106, Harry's Favorites. Until then, go with the flow, my friends.